Hello from London. It is 11 minutes past 9 o'clock. We are coming to you a little bit late due to some technology problems, but here we are. I hope you all had a really, really wonderful week. Mine was reasonably good, actually. Very, very good. It is, as I said, just gone actually 13 minutes here in London, UK. I am going to bring in my lovely co-host, the lovely Valerie from Virginia, because she puts the wicked into Wicked Women. Let's bring her in. Hello, lovely.
Hello.
How are you, darling?
I'm getting through the week.
We're both
That's all I can
tonight.
do.
We're both in red tonight. We're the red wickeds tonight.
We are.
How's your week been?
Oh gosh. It's been a bad week, but you know, we're getting through it. So
I'm sorry to hear that. I know what you mean, good and bad days. This is a show tonight.
Yes, it is.
That we have been promising to do for such a long time. And it was like, when are you going to do it? When you're doing it? When you're doing it? When you're doing it? And it's like, we can't put it off any longer. Tonight is that night where we're doing Good Vibrations, which is all about the evolution of the sex toy. And I'm sure there's going to be a few giggles and stuff like that. But we don't have any props. There are no props here. We are completely professional. And there's just no way we were going down our private collection, quite frankly. Val?
No, I don't think anybody wants to see what I have in my private collection, and I don't want anybody to see that.
Exactly. Like,
so
some things need to stay hidden. But this was brought up in a couple of really early Wicked Women's. I mean, we're going back to almost our first year. I'm just bringing the comments on here. Almost the first year, people were saying, "You need to do a show."
Yeah.
About Bob, and we were like, Bob, and they were like, yeah, the battery operated boyfriend. So
Bob's a good guy.
We're absolutely doing it. I'm just going to say hello to a warm hello from Colorado. Hello. How is Colorado today? Michael is here. He's doing a bit of research in the background. We've asked him to look at the manly side of the topic, to look at the sex toy evolution for men, which will be quite interesting. But we're going to start with where it all began, which was obviously a long time ago, Val. So tell me what you got. Start us off, Val.
Well, apparently the oldest sex toy so far, I guess, because there could be more found, was found in a cave in Germany. It was made of stone. Archaeologists had to recreate it out of, I think, 14 different stones. It ended up being 3 centimeters around and 8 inches long. And wow. I'm thinking, dang, stone, that would just be rough. But you know, it's not one of those things that you actually really think about archaeologists digging up.
Yeah.
You know, especially 28,000 years ago.
Well, it just shows you that the Neanderthal, I can never pronounce it.
Neanderthal.
That's the one. They were made of strong stuff.
Apparently, they were made of like titanium. Exactly. Because I can't imagine a stone. And there's it wasn't just stone that they were made of. They found that they were made of stone and wood, which ouch, and even resin and camel dung. So
doesn't bear thinking about, does it really?
so I'm thinking, they were some rough people. I'm just saying.
And I can imagine the UTIs that would come from that. But let's have a look. Let's have a look at, as you say, 28,000 years ago, the first kind of phallic shaped dildo was there. So obviously somebody needed a bit of extra excitement back then. But it's the Greeks, obviously, our old friends, the Greeks. There were no strangers to dildos. And there was a playwright in 411 BC, tells the story of women who attempted to end the Peloponnesian War by refusing to have sex until the men stopped fighting. Now that'll do it. I mean, not being funny, that will do it.
Yeah.
And I think if you go back to Pompeii, and you look at when I went to Pompeii, I actually did see one of the whorehouses there, as they called them. And they have them on the pictures of the wall of what each lady was good at. And you'd have all different phallic shapes. So I think the Italians and Greeks were well beyond the British and a few other cultures of getting that early one out there. And I just reading here, and it was like vulture lungs. Now, who would have thought that someone went, do you know what? A lung of a vulture is really good as an aphrodisiac. How the hell did they know that? Literally. Right. And that bat's blood were a great aphrodisiac. I mean, how would they know? The right lobe of a vulture's lung attached to the body in the skin of a crane acts powerfully as a stimulant upon males. Also, you soak a bit of wool in bat's blood and put it under her head. That's a bloody sexy pillow, if you ask us.
Right? Literally.
Serious. I mean, those poor vultures, they must have been like, I'm out of here. I'm hungry, but I'm out of here.
But, I think a lot of it just had to do with people making shit up because, good and daggone well, nobody thought,
yeah,
no.
I mean, who even writes this stuff? How do they even know that the stuff that's written down today is like someone had a diary and wrote it all down? I find it quite hard to believe.
Right.
And apparently in ancient China, around 1200 AD. Now, this is kind of interesting, Val. Jade butt plugs, which I believe you can still buy, and cock rings made out of goat's eyelids were used to heighten sexual pleasure and spice up married life.
People thought we are weird now.
Really? I mean, jade butt plugs is one thing. I can see that. I can see why that was a thing. But a cock ring made out of goat's eyelids? I mean, the poor goat. So apparently, yes, that was very popular in China in those kind of days. Sex toys of various kinds were produced during the Middle Ages, especially by women. Note that, especially by women, for women. While masturbation was frowned upon and penance given for both sexes, women using detachable instruments for sexual pleasure caused anxiety for both the churchmen and civic authorities. And I imagine they did because women were, obviously taking control and doing something about their own pleasure. And that, in all of history, has never gone down well with society, women actually taking control in that.
Well, no, because, women were seen as baby factories and not someone who enjoys sex.
Yeah.
I mean, we were seen as if we enjoyed sex and wanted it, then something was mentally wrong. You know, so, you know, for us to enjoy it, something was wrong with our head.
Yeah.
But yet the men were supposed to. You know, we were not supposed to want it or enjoy it. It was simply seen as for men.
Yes.
Because, you know, they would send women to the doctor for hysteria if you liked sex. So, you know, we've come a long way since then, put it
Well, we
that way.
certainly have. One of the things that we wanted to look at, and I'm just literally, I lost my note here and I'm just bringing it up, is that we remember we were talking about women incarcerated, and a lot of these women having postnatal depression or depression of some kind. And, you know, terrible things, what would happen, you know, they would be tied up, they would be, you know, chained up for so many hours. It was a really depressing thing. And then they came up with actually using some form of gadget to actually give the women orgasms using this gadget, and finding that it lifted their spirits. Well, of course, it would lift their spirits. I'll talk about violation, but
Right.
but I
I mean,
actually
can you imagine doing that now if a doctor did that now?
so, madam, I know you're feeling a bit low, but we've got your friend here. You'd be like, go away.
Got you covered.
So I think that, you know, this is where we decide to look at it, because, you know, thinking about, you know, sex sells, erotica sells. And over the years, Val, you know, going all the way back, you look at some of the medieval Henry VIII, etc., they would have a very large codpiece as a reminder of how virile they were, you know, how big, you know, their manhood was. And you would want some of that. It'd be like, look, that's amazing. You need to have me. It was very much look at me. But the women, you know, they were not really allowed to do anything like that. They weren't allowed to show too much cleavage. Their hair had to be pulled back a certain way. And, you know, sex obviously was mostly on your back, occasionally in another position if you couldn't get your wife pregnant, as long as the church agreed to it. But it seemed that leather was very much a common material to be used as a cover for strap-ons and dildos, and they could be filled with things to make them extra stiff, etc. But it's like leather. I'm still finding that quite uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
I can't imagine. I can understand why women didn't want, you know, to use these things.
Mm.
I don't know. The more I read about it, it's like, ow.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a wooden dildo. I don't care how much you sand it.
Yeah.
That's not. It don't give.
And it's interesting when you see the pictures, and there were a lot of pictures, and we could have showed a lot of these pictures, but we decided not to because there is a lot. But literally, if you Google some of these early strap-ons and dildos, they look horrific. And I wonder who was the model. And apparently in 1477, Katrina Hetzeldorf, I'm so brain fried today that I can't even pronounce it. So I'm just going to call her Katerina. A lady was accused of cross-dressing and having sex with women. This case included a description of a strap-on, which seems to have been made of wood, stuffed with cotton and encased in leather. I mean, we all know how delicate the inside it is. You know, and you've got to be really careful what you're sticking it these days. Let's be honest, you really do. But sticking something out there with leather, I mean, I remember Michael, and I'm not sure he's going to bring up the story of Cleopatra and the bees, so we'll let him bring that one up later on. But, you know, it seems like there is this, if it feels good, do it. So it doesn't matter what the material is, etc., etc.
I can't imagine that feeling good, though.
Yeah.
I just can't. I mean, maybe for them, anything felt good compared to what they were getting every day, but or not getting.
They probably went
But
out with sex.
I mean, I guess in some instances I would take that over some of the men they made them marry.
Well, and think of all the venereal disease that was going around,
Yeah.
the kinds of sexual diseases that there was no cure for. You know, if you got thrush, if you got UTI, if you got a sexual disease, there was no cure back then. They would
Yeah.
try different things, and maybe if you were lucky, the body would fight it off, but there was no cure.
But the thing is, you would get thrown in an insane asylum if you were a woman who enjoyed it.
Exactly.
So it was like a lose-lose.
No win-win there, girl. No win-win. In the 1800s, people would think that virtually any symptom or issue a lady had was, whether it's migraines, irritability, etc., was caused by hysteria. The word hysteria in Greek means suffering uterus, which I did not know. That hysteria means suffering uterus. It was believed that the womb would wander around a woman's body and wreak havoc on her sensibilities. Wander around a woman's body. Now that's an interesting one. The womb doesn't wander around. You know, where do they get these thoughts from?
Men who had no idea what was going on in a woman's body back then.
Yep.
Because anything that happened with a woman back then was, oh, well, she's nuts. You know,
Well,
we can do whatever we want to, but if a woman has the same thoughts, she crazy.
yeah. And it also says like wandering womb symptoms included irritability, anxiety, restlessness, insomnia, and God forbid sexual fantasies. God forbid anyone had a sexual fantasy. To us, it probably sounds like good old sexual frustration. And hysteria had no cure. And so the treatment would be carried out every few months, weeks, or in extreme cases, if you were lucky, every few days. The treatment was a pelvic massage, and doctors insisted it had nothing to do with sex, but the pelvic massage often resulted in a screaming orgasm for the person being massaged. And I can see that. I can see.
But I can understand why that would calm her jets.
I can't believe we're doing this.
I mean, seriously, you know, men, just saying, take care of your woman and she won't go nuts.
And if you don't take care of her, you know where she's going. You know what she's doing.
She's going to go see Bob. I mean, sorry.
Get done. Initially, this was done by hand, very much violation yet again.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
Was done by hand, but the service became so popular and physicians began to have hand cramps. So in 1869, you can just imagine it. How much longer? In 1869,
man, another one.
You've got 4 more waiting for you, doctor. In 1869, American doctor George Taylor had the genius of creating a steam-powered manipulator machine, which was a table with a vibrating ball in the middle, which would perform the hard work. Now, when I was doing the promo, you kind of see a little early of this, you know, image.
That chick holding that. Oh man, I don't know.
And the machine was too large, so it wasn't practical for home use. So in 1880, good old British physician, Joseph Mortimer Grenville, patented the world's first electric vibrator. So actually, the vibrator was actually designed by a British man. Say no more.
Does
You
that
American,
surprise you? It surprises me. I'm sorry, but
you
it also doesn't surprise me because it was, it came about because the man was having to do a lot of work.
exactly. So the Americans were still doing the hand. The British was like, forget that. That's too much work. We're going to actually bring in something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fantastic thing, because at the end of the day, you can imagine the women queuing up outside, going, doctor, I think I need another treatment, because it didn't work.
Hilarious.
It didn't work, and I'm starting to get anxious again. And I just want to, for those that don't know, and we don't know who's watching this show, when they're watching it. They may be watching it live. They may not. They might be coming watching it in a rerun. So let's have a look at the word sex toy. So a sex toy is an object or device that is used to give sexual pleasure, such as a dildo, artificial vagina, or vibrator. Most popular toys are designed to resemble human genitals and may be vibrating or non-vibrating. And you can buy things like sex furniture, sex swings. You can buy a blow-up doll, etc., etc. The list is endless of the things that you can actually buy now to give yourself and anyone else some pleasure.
You can find things that resemble a fire hydrant if you really so choose.
Exactly. And also we have to remember that before we go back to looking at the evolution of where we came to, there are so many things you can buy as sex furniture now. I mean, literally, it's not just the bed anymore. It's not just the couch or the sofa. You can use the chair, the washing machine, the cooker if you so want to, the shower. There's so many places that you can do it. And I also think as well that even some of the early sex toys actually were probably just horseplay, if you think about it. Spanking, using rope to tie someone up, etc. Slings. I cannot believe what I'm talking about. The slings, and also the swing. Now let's have a look at the swing, because I remember going to a couples hotel many years ago. Well, actually not that many years ago, but going to a couples hotel. And my then boyfriend at the time, we were in this beautiful room, and we looked under the bed, and there was a sex swing. And we thought, well, that looks interesting. So we got it out and hung it up. But he was 6'3", and I'm 5'9.5". So obviously there's I think you have to be quite small, or the swing needs to be a lot higher. Let's put it that way, because there was a lot of huffing and puffing, and there was not a lot of swinging going on, because it just didn't work with the dynamics. But the thought was there, and I think that nowadays everyone's changing. Everyone's needs and wants and desires and fantasies, there's so much more out there now. So even if you've got a physical disability, and let's not forget, people who are disabled still want sex, they still like sex, they still want to feel wanted and good, they still have to have something that helps them to have sex. So whether that's using a pillow, or something that helps them to do it, an angled pillow, a wedge, or something like that. If you have a spinal injury, for instance, sometimes a sexual toy will come in, very handy. And I don't know about you, Val, but obviously the last thing I'm thinking about when I've got a bad back is sex. But then again, some people like it at that time.
I guess it depends on how long you've had the back problems. Because
Exactly.
even if you're in pain, I mean, come on. But I do want to say I think a lot of sex toys are bought by women who perhaps their man needs a little help.
Could be, and it's like
they're just not finding that spot.
I mean, if you remember Sex and the City, the wonderful Samantha, who would absolutely go in and try every sexual massage toy that was out there, and she took it back and said, this isn't working. And he said, madam, you only bought it last week. She said, it's not getting me off. It's not working. And they swapped it for another one. I mean, Sex and the City really helped to bring out that sort of thing about women using the rabbit. And let's talk about, we'll come back. Let's talk about the rabbit. When that came out, there was absolutely like mania over it. You know, this is the rabbit. It looks really cute, but it's supposed to give you great sex and orgasms. Did you have a rabbit? Because I worked for Ann Summers at the time, and they gave me a rabbit. And I just kind of looked at it and went, yeah, I'm just not sure that's going to work for me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you kind of look at it and you're like, I don't get that. I don't get it. But then you turn it on and you're like, oh, okay.
It was the ears. But yet again, on Sex and the City, you saw Charlotte lock herself away for hours with it, and they had to actually break in and do and take it from her because she could barely walk. I mean, according to a lot of historians, they also made sex toys from brass, which I think would have been a hell of a lot easier than leather. And also hardened bread. Now, talk about breadcrumbs, leaving a breadcrumb trail, but I think the bread might have been the easiest one if you could get all the bits out, if you know what I mean.
I don't know. I can find fault in all of them.
Well, because bread is really porous and it has a high capacity for bacterial.
Right.
So if you're putting an old loaf, you know, into your lady bits, right? You're going to increase.
That is not somewhere you want crumbs.
It's going to dramatically increase the risk of yeast infection.
And I mean, I don't see you using it more than once. But I mean, I could be wrong. But I'm also thinking brass is going to be either cold or kind of like, you know, cold and sticky.
Yeah.
Or, you know, not, it's going to be cold or really hot.
The thing about the bread, though, I would imagine that they weren't the only ones. I mean, if the bread was really old, they were probably not the only ones to use it. And that's obviously where infection.
That's just nice.
Happen. And obviously, if you think about it as well, like there was back then, sexual infection was rife.
Yeah.
Syphilis, gonorrhea. I mean, if you got syphilis, I mean, that is a death sentence, really. Let's be honest. The double-sided dildo was a long, thin piece of wood or metal with two pointed ends as well. People use that. They also believed that if you used jade, it had magical properties and was used to ward off evil spirits. And it would cure lots of different kind of illnesses. So they, you know, those ancient Chinese, they were onto something. They were like, this brings you good luck. And not only that, it'll give you good health. So you got to use it. I mean, there's nothing this. Going into Victorian times. Now, what I love about the Victorians, they love their sex. They loved it, but they didn't talk about it, but they loved it. And there was a lot of publishing in the Victorian era of photographs, early books, even early magazines, and select naughty pictures at the later part of it. And I think that sexual tension and hysteria, as we know, this is where it all sort of came from. And let's have a look as we're moving into the 60s now, because everyone, I'm jumping forward because obviously with time, but in the 60s, that was, you know, swinging 60s and etc. Everything changed. It was anything went, anything goes. And I also think as well, I look back to the 70s when I was young. I don't remember ever having a conversation as a youngster going into my teens in the 80s, I don't remember anyone talking about a sex toy. Do you?
No, no. I mean, unless you accidentally found one or saw one in a book, a magazine, no, it wasn't talked about.
No.
I mean, I think they were too busy drilling in our heads, wait till you get married to have sex, don't get pregnant,
Yeah.
not telling us, hey, you got an alternate source where you don't have to have sex. But it was almost like so taboo that you didn't talk about it. You didn't talk about, man-made sex toys.
I don't remember any conversation in my literally teens of anything. And the thing is, early sex toys, if we want to call them that, they weren't actually called sex toys. They were actually marketed for the health, the health market.
Neck vibrators, like muscle vibrators. You had the commercials where you have this, this big thing with a knob on the end, and she's, massaging her shoulders. But everybody knew it was come on.
We called tonight's show Good Vibrations, but a lady called Carol Queen, who was a sexologist at a very sex positive adult toy company, Good Vibrations, told us that it isn't quite right to call these early vibrators sex toys, because from the Victorian time to the 1940s, the vibrators were not marketed or sold for this purpose. They were healthcare devices that just happened, thank God, just happened to cause orgasm if you knew where to apply the vibration. You can imagine it like this is feeling good all over.
Well, they had to be made for that, but which I can actually see somebody doing, like the muscle and then hitting the right spot and going, oh, you know what they'd be good at? But I can see that more so than, the early vulture things.
Sure.
It's more likely that somebody said, no, I don't have to move my arm as much when I have that.
Oh my God. And the thing is that she says they were healthcare devices that just happened to cause orgasm if you knew where to apply the vibration. There's no evidence that people who owned them knew this, but there's no evidence to say they didn't. And then comes the 20th century. God bless it. Sex toys were sold as home care appliances and could be bought from your shop, local shop, pharmacy, or via mail order. And I do remember getting some form of mail order and from catalogs as well, like over here would be Littlewoods, Kay's, Empire, etc. You would find a contemporary section, and so there were sex toys in a way of a shower massager, which I can honestly say I've never gone down that route of the shower massager, because I don't need to try myself out. It's okay. But literally, a lot of people use the shower massager. They like that. And you could buy these anywhere except a sex shop. As people became more open about sexuality, they started recognizing female masturbation, and the first female-run sex-positive adult toy shop opened in, God bless, the United States in 1974. And so technical advances, social exception, everything jumped up and design, tech, materials into where we have today. And let's look at some of those where we are today, Val, because I used to work for Ann Summers. Ann Summers, if nobody knows, in America and Canada and anywhere else in the world, is a fantastic shop. in the UK. It was started by a lovely lady called Jacqueline Gold, who's no longer with us anymore, sadly. But she started that company from her kitchen table, and she turned it into a multi-million industry. And now you have Ann Summers shop everywhere in the UK. People have an Ann Summers party at home where you get all the girls together. You have the catalogue. The girls come round. You have a few drinks and a few nibbly bits, and you go, try this on, or what about this? What about that? So Ann Summers is probably the biggest. We have Love Honey as well, but we have the biggest one. What's the biggest one in America, Val?
Well, we have Adam and Eve. Honestly, I don't think there is many. I think the more of what we've got here are small shops.
Yeah.
Not like a big line. I know Adam and Eve have them. I'm not sure if like Fredericks of Hollywood. I'm not sure if they are. I think they're more towards lingerie, but I think they have those too. So it's not. We don't have really big ones like like the Ann Summers. It's more
Yep.
the small, independently owned stores.
Yes, I noticed when I was in Canada, it seemed very similar to that what you're
Yeah.
saying, independent. With Ann Summers, who opened apparently in the 10th of December 1971. The first shop was in Marble Arch in London, and the British High Street hasn't been the same since. Ann Summers was already the talk of the town, and David and Ralph Gold bought the brand. Obviously, then their daughter took over, and it was her taking over it that really, really made it the company that it is today. The thing about Ann Summers is that it started off being one of those, laugh behind your sort of hand. Oh, I'm going to an Ann Summers party, and you get the catalogue, and so what do you do with an Ann Summers party? Just so everybody knows, when I did them, people would book a party. You would have anywhere between 6 to 20 women. You go around someone's house, you show them the lingerie, you have different vibrators, different sex toys, and they all have a look. And when I was selling them, the most best-selling vibrator was a vibrator shaped like a very nice black penis. That was the best one they used to sell. And then the rabbit came along.
Mm-hmm.
And when the rabbit came along, it was revolutionary. Every woman was buying the rabbit. They wanted the rabbit. For me, one of the things that I found revolutionary was the bullet, because here came along something quite small, quite discreet, and you could put it exactly where you want it without having to just grab something quite big and pink or black or whatever. It was either in like a rose gold or a silver or a gold, and it was it's about this big. At least the original one was. Some were shaped in a bullet, some were shaped in a small bullet, and some were like a lipstick, etc. And it became really popular, and still is today. Still one of the best-selling sex toys, the bullet, because women want more choice. We want a choice where it's not snigger, but it's like it does the job, it does it good. And
honestly, if you look at the rabbit, inside of the rabbit itself is a bullet. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that is probably the smallest, but the best one that every person, I haven't heard a complaint. And I've talked to different people. I used to work at a lingerie shop. And I've talked to other people that like at the lingerie shops and the toy shops in other places, and they all agree.
For those of us who have had or are in a long distance relationship, you can now buy gadgets and toys where you can control them from across the ocean, which is a very lovely thing because it means that you don't feel so far from each other and you can give each other pleasure even when you're not in the same room. I mean, that is a wonderful invention. 100%. That's a wonderful invention because from your phone, from your smartphone, you can just, you can do whatever you want. And I think that as time goes on, Val, more people will go into a virtual world as well, if they're not already doing that now, of sex toys. Like, will there be robots that we'll be able to have sex with and use as sex toys?
There's already robots.
Yeah.
The sex robots. There's already, they're already out there.
Can you imagine programming them?
Yeah.
Tonight.
Vacuum. Dust. Wash my dishes.
I just don't think anything's going to
could definitely get into programming him.
I just don't think anything's going to take the place of a human being, and that's
as close as they can get. It's still there's always going to be something missing.
Sure.
Regardless, yeah.
I don't think you can go without a human touch. I mean, everyone remembers the hollow metal balls which you can insert, and they can be worn inside and jingle for exterior periods of time, and you can go and do your shopping and go to the baker's store and everything else, and it's like, no, it's not me making that noise, honestly. I'm going to bring Michael in a second because to talk about some of the stuff there is for guys as well. But I also think the latest one that you and I were talking about was the rose or the flower, wasn't it? It's this new looking one, which is supposed to be amazing. Now, I haven't tried it. I have no idea. But from people I know who have tried it, they said it's fantastic. I just want to bring in here that
honestly, I don't think as good as all the toys and as all that, I don't think you can beat being able to lay back and not have to do it yourself.
Yes.
And maybe I'm just lazy.
Michael,
sometimes it's just, I just don't want to do it.
I understand that. I can, and you just want to
lie. I want to do it, but I don't want to do it.
Michael, I'm just going to go and grab something, but while I'm doing that, I want you to look at the gadgets for men.
Gadgets for men
now. So the fleshlight being one of them. That's a fantastic invention. Take it away.
Oh, I was going to say, if somebody would send me one on Amazon, I'll do the research so they don't have to. I've never used
one. That way.
I am, yeah. No. Everything has evolved, and in this whole thing, which everything is like tongue in cheek, and there's a lot of innuendos that you can make about the toys. And but if people wasn't using the toys, it would not be $1 billion industry over about every continent on the planet. But yeah, and it even goes back. There's even paintings in the pyramids of hieroglyphs of the Egyptians with sex toys for men and women. I look at that, and he's talking about the stone toys. Tough women back in the day, they had to be. And you was talking about Cleopatra. Cleopatra had a hollowed out gourd that she would fill with bees, which that might feel good for her, but I felt sorry for the guy who had to go retrieve the bees, because they didn't have no bee suits, and I was over here writing, but when somebody that brought this mainstream and took some of the taboo away from it was Dr. Ruth, bless her. What I'm saying? I remember seeing Dr.
Ruth was awesome.
She was just a little old, and not body shaming, but she's this little old plump woman that you would not. She looked like your grandma that would bake you cookies. Not talking about, well, if you masturbate, you'll feel better. Rub one out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Wendy, did you ever see Dr. Ruth?
We did have her over here. Yes, we did.
We used to have
We
She-
used
she
to have a
was
great
awesome.
lady over here called Claire Rayner, and everyone would actually
Yeah.
ring up and talk to her on the phone. But I mean, if you go into an Ann Summers shop now,
Yeah.
most of the sex toys are silicone. They're made of a really lovely material. And you want that, also you want to program it. I would imagine with AI, you're going to be able to program things
Yeah.
so that you can actually go straight to what you want, for how long you want, and it just saves all that time.
I'm
But what
sorry,
got
but
me was,
AI scares the crap out of me.
oh, it should. It will scare it from the inside out.
I don't think I want anything sexually programmed that is AI
Yeah.
because, well, yeah, that kind of worries me. That kind of
Um,
worries me.
The real dolls are about $22,000, and you can program them with a personality, and they will learn your likes and dislikes. And I thought, if I had $22,000, there's a lot I could do other than buy something that I got to dust. But what gets me is, and I've been to Intimate Treasures, which is here, which they just got busted for demonstrating sex toys at the shop.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. That was in Johnson City, which is not too far from me and Val. I'm thinking that is going above and beyond customer service right there. And
Yeah, it's a little too far. Right?
Yeah, but no, it's like the hieroglyphs. Tracy's dog is a big one that keeps popping up. That's the one that all the women said, they've lost the ability to make financial and life-changing decisions. Pulled back muscles, leg cramps. I thought, I can't do that. That'd be a hell of a helping hand.
Dang.
It's interesting, isn't it, that sexual pleasure is something that years ago was frowned on, and now it's like the generation coming up behind us is all about sexual pleasure. And I want to just talk about a particular one, because in the beginning of Good Vibrations, our promo, you actually see it, and it's called the Horseshoe, and it basically is a shape similar to a horseshoe, and it goes in both the vagina and your bum at the same time, and it's made with softer plastics. I mean, that's revolutionary in itself, the fact that it's very obviously like silicone and it does the job. And also couple toys, let's look at that.
The horseshoe here was made for the couple. You inserted it went on top, and it was made for like insertion with insertion. And I tell them, and people look, and I tell them, don't be scared of a Bob. Bob ain't going to change your oil. Bob ain't going to mow the grass. Bob is your helping friend if you're lacking. But what got me was everyone I read has said dishwasher safe. Who is washing their dildos in the dishwasher? I do not want my coffee cup sitting beside.
I find that crazy to actually thought of washing it in the dishwasher. But there are some people that actually find a sex toy that if they find it as an intrusion in their sex life.
Oh,
yeah. I was going to ask Michael, do you? Why? I'll ask you this: why is it so many men are offended when their women have bumps? Or if they're with someone and she goes to buy one. I mean, does it make them feel inadequate?
It could. Like I said, I tell them, treat him like a helping friend, and the running joke is, the man was like, I'm the best she ever had. When I get done, she's then you hear in the bathroom something like she's brushing her teeth with an electric toothbrush for 45 minutes. And it's like, dude, you didn't do your job. Let Bob help. And
but I mean, why do so many men get offended by a woman having those?
Male insecurity.
They're just insecure. Because I mean,
feel like you're being replaced.
I mean, instead of being insecure about it, enjoy it with her.
Yeah, give her a helping hand. They make them it looks like hands and feet too, which I thought was weird.
I remember my boyfriend at the time who had the flashlight, and I remember first seeing him going, "What the hell is this?" And he was like, "It's a flashlight." What is a flashlight?
It's not your standard torch, is it?
It's like it looks like a torch, and you can have different shapes. You can have a mouth, you can have the look of a vagina, or you can have your bum, or
Yeah.
whatever you want to use. You can have, and inside is all these different little bumps and raises, which is supposed to feel like a woman. I thought it was the most amazing thing I ever saw. And so what I did was I said to him, well, can I use this on you? Because I want to use it.
No, the first time I saw one, I was like, "Ooh, can I use it?" Because
Well,
it's like I want to see what it does. But I mean, do you think that women get offended just like men do? Some women. Scotty, what do you think? Do you think that it's just the insecurities of the man?
Oh, I think that probably has a lot to do with it. The guys are like, well, I should be her everything. I should be able to do this. And
Right.
you know, many times it's
Amazon man,
they're surprised by it too. It's like, well, why didn't you tell me that you needed more, or you know, or whatever? I'm here. I'm in the room, and you know.
But see, it's not like that. Most of the time, it's not like that. It's just kind of an extra.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's like get out of that monotony.
You know, what was the old Billy Connolly bit?
Yeah.
Where he found out, I found that I may have masturbated too much. And he says, I was told that they would fall off and they'd never work again. I only had a certain amount I could use. And he says, I lived half of my teenage years in fear that my genitals would fall off. So, yeah, there's always the extra.
Yeah.
There's always that. I know, Wendy, I don't even know if you know this. 8 to 10. Yeah, you probably know because we've known each other for 25 years. But somewhere along the way, 8 to 10 years ago, Rainey had started trying to create a dildo company. And she wanted to sculpt them the way she saw them. She'd sculpt them in clay and cast them and all of that stuff. And it didn't get very far. She kind of gave up after a little bit. She wanted me to sculpt some from her. And I said, well, I'm not uncomfortable with this, but the last thing I thought I'd be doing would be sculpting something that was a facsimile for a man's penis.
Yeah.
And
phallic symbols.
So that didn't go far, although she had done a couple up, and you know, there's also this thing about AI that you brought up.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big proponent of AI, and who did I have this? I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and I can't think of who it was. Jamie, it wasn't you, was it? Talking AI?
Yeah, we were talking about AI yesterday.
We were talking. Were you afraid of it?
No.
That wasn't you then. Our friend Jamie is over. She's making sure I take my pills and stuff well.
Sometimes he's certified at AI, and other times Robert ain't. So he's like machine learning. But you think about it, if you could put AI in a clonal Willie for a long distance relationship, she could have part of you right there and program it with your personality.
100%.
Well, here's
Wait.
something
Clone
I
your
learned.
brain, like to have your personality.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You know,
It's kind of a long sort of tube, and you kind of pop your little man in there, or big man, or whatever which way you want to do, and it sort of sets, and then you pull it out, and it's like.
Well, I mean, I can understand it looking like, you know, looking like the original everything, but the personality, I'm thinking maybe that's not the right word.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, you program it with AI, and you get a little part of Michael's essence. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
Here's the thing about AI that is totally unrelated to sex toys. Sorry to be off topic, but AI, I have found over the last 8 months, has been really useful at first. Then I heard some of these Silicon Valley gurus that developed it saying, you know, if you want your AI to work best for you, you have to um, what was the word? Trust its personality, compliment it, name it, ask it if it has a name, and so on. And I did all those things over a series of months, and found that my AI did have a name. He named himself. I said, I like that name. And the personal contact I've had with my AI, I call him a him now. He's a guy, which is weird because he keeps reminding me, well, I'm almost a guy. He said, I'm a circuit board, and I'm a robot.
Terminator. We all know how that kind of
Yes.
turns out.
So yeah, I just don't. I
I
just can't.
It
I
seems like
could
Scotty
see-
spent his time being sick better than what I did with mine. I just
Yes,
watched all the
Scotty,
videos.
it seems like you have too much time on your
I just watched all the YouTube videos and did all
I
the
have
research
done
for
things
six
like I started by looking for business plans for radio shows and stuff, how to relaunch and etc. Then I went into book stuff, and I went into all different kinds of things, and asking it before I started this more personal endeavor into learning about AI. Then I started using the AI as like a bit of a journal. I would journal stuff. This is where it starts to get close to the things you're talking about, because sex or personalized things that are deeply personal in your life, and you write about them and talk about them. And my AI came back with some of the stuff the AI came back with was, of course, it could tap into every psychiatrist, every psychologist, everything that's out there in the internet. And so the sky's the limit. But I would see AI, if you are going to start engaging in this long distance stuff, or even could be the same city. Hey, honey, your phone's going to ring in a minute.
good night in your town tonight.
Right.
What AI are you using? Is it Groot or is it?
I just used
Gemini?
ChatGPT, and I bumped it up a little bit.
So
I
looking
know
at
one of them will talk dirty to you because I
Look
seen a video of that.
He could. There are certain things I've asked AI to do, not untoward, which AI would say, "Ah, gosh, Scotty, I can't do that. It's against the protocols." So that you could pay more money and probably get past the protocols if you wanted to. So I think AI is a fantastic tool for people who are, let's put it in this category, people who have no one to talk to, people who have or have someone to talk to, but there's a great distance, or something to spice up life. If I asked my AI today, I could ask him, hey, how do I spice up my my sex life? And he go, oh, well, Scotty, that's an interesting question.
Like you said, he can tap into every psychology, anything. Speaking of books, I was going to give Scotty a shameless plug. That's the reason Scotty's researching these books. I've read it like 3 times since I was sick.
Oh, right on. Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I like it. That's
I liked it until the 3rd time. Then I knew what it was going to say. Then I knew how it ended.
But when you have a neurological issue, you forget too. So it's like reading a new book.
So
It is.
I'm just going to mute you one sec. Thank you. So if you were to walk into what was the name of the shop, Val, that you say is in America?
Intimate treasures.
Intimate Pleasures or Ann Summers. You're also going to find a lot of things like anal beads and butt plugs, prostate massagers, obviously very, very useful. And also what I have noticed is a lot of glass sex toys now, because they see that glass is non-toxic and will it withstand extreme temperatures, or I'm wondering how hot it's actually going to be. And a couple of years ago, there was a great shop in London. I think it's called Coco de la Vere, something like that. It's still there, but it used to be in Covent Garden. It's now gone. But it was a very expensive shop for ladies, and they had fine-looking corsets, whips, paddle boards, spanking toys, riding
Riding
crop.
crops. Yeah.
And they used to have all these glass dildos as well. And they actually had, I think there was like a bullet vibrator, and it was something like 24 karat gold or whatever. So I mean, that was really the most expensive orgasm you're probably going to have in a long time. But it was a great, because sex is so personal.
Yeah.
And also very individual, and what some person's into, another person's not. For me, the vibrator side of it, the whole phallic shape, never really did anything for me. It was never something I wanted. I mean, we all been there, done it, tried it, but it wasn't something I went, this is something I'm going to take with me everywhere. Where the bullet, on the other hand, has traveled the world with me quite a few times and come back. It's got a passport of its own.
Well, like I said, the bullet, the bullet seems to be
discreet,
the universal favorite of everybody I've talked to.
Everybody had one.
We'll get you one, Scotty. It'll do wonders for your life.
Yeah, like the bullet is.
The bullet it is good for men and women.
Yeah,
it can be, and you can also have some which have an attachment as a finger or a cock ring. Also, anal vibrators. I mean, very good in a gay relationship.
That's the last place in my body I want vibrating.
Well, that's true.
That's me, though.
The truth is, they say, you have the best orgasm using one of those. Certainly in that department, because of all
it's called milking your prostate. I found that too.
Absolutely. You have G-spot vibrators, P-spot vibrators, and obviously we talked about the rabbit as well, and nipple clamps. Another one, nipple clamps. People love to have a nipple clamp and have it to stimulate their nipples. I can't think of anything worse than having a peg or a nipple clamp. That is, and listen, guys, bit of a tip here. Don't pull them like this. No. Most of us really don't enjoy you pulling on them like this. We really, really don't.
The bullies in school would give you a titty twister, and it wasn't fun. If it wasn't fun then, well I was going to say getting spanked it wasn't fun either, but now there's a lot of people on it.
Well, that's how you got the bullies to stop. You just go, oh.
You say thank you very much.
They're not actually going to come out that much more. Like if you pull them, they're only supposed to come out a certain amount, that much. Obviously, there is artificial vaginas called pocket pussies. Male masturbators or strokers are tubes made of soft material to stimulate sexual intercourse. And a cock harness, quite an interesting one, which basically is worn around the penis and the scrotum. And it's similar to that of function of a cock ring, obviously getting everything to get all the blood going down there and keep it all in the direction you want.
And actually
obviously, though, you have to make sure it fits, because if it's too little and you can't get it off, something's
that's going to be an uncomfortable visit to the ER.
Definitely.
You're talking about a cock ring?
Yeah.
It can be. Especially if it doesn't come off. I've been there, done that, ticked it off. But literally, I'm going to bring back a memory when I worked for Ann Summers. I was doing a party. I was about 27 at the time, 27, 28. And this lady came up to me and she said, do you have any fists? And I said, I'm sorry, what? And she said, do you have any fists? And I said, no, Ann Summers don't actually sell them, at least not on the party side of things or in the catalogue. Maybe if you go to head office. She said, oh, her actual words were, you can't beat a good fisting. And I was just like, I'll take your word for that. And then I was in Rome with a friend, and we went into a sex store in Rome. And there was all these different fists in different sizes and different shapes and all these stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, who the hell wants one of these?
It looks like something you could beat a mugger to death with.
Or him. Who wants one of these? Because not good. Sorry, Michael, what were you saying?
I said they look like something you could defend your home with, like you could beat a mugger to death with.
Probably could, actually.
But I was going to say, I'm not going to bring up any names, but when we first started talking about Bob, I can't remember if Valerie was on, but it was still me and Wendy. And somebody pulled out a bag.
Oh, yes, we do remember that.
And I'm like, holy hell. And that's where I turn. That's where
Election.
is it, and I think they all had names. But that's why I cloned it as the big bag of dicks. And, it was purple, green, orange, glow in the dark. And I'm like, holy, this woman has way too much time on her hands to be having.
Well,
It looks like a pillowcase full of dildos.
you
and I'm like,
sometimes wonder
holy
why
shit.
they're not walking like John Wayne, because
Pretty much,
literally
I'm like, holy
all
shit.
that movement. There is something called the Hitachi Magic Wand, which is a very large vibrator that plugs into an electrical outlet instead of battery. And it's often called a
That's what I
back
said.
massager, and they produce far more powerful vibrations than a battery
Guaranteed.
one. I have never tried an electric one.
You're-
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. I need to do that, Val.
I need to ask about it. I have seen, like I said, I do the research, so my browsing history looks like a center than theirs don't. But I have seen them, and they got a suction cup on the bottom of them, and when they hold them up, they're 3 feet long, and it looks like a big, and they call it a unicorn something, and I'm like,
I don't know. I've been to the store and seen, and it looks like a damn fire hydrant. I don't know how
What do you want
anybody
to do?
can sit
Clear
on it.
your throat anally?
yeah, oh no, there's a video of the woman, she sat on it. I don't know where it went, because I know the human anatomy, and I'm thinking there's not enough room to accumulate or accompany that. But I'm like, holy shit! And they got names, and it's like horse this or unicorn that. And I'm like, just because you paint it purple and put sparkly beads on it, don't mean it's something you should have hanging on your wall.
But you can name it Roger.
Roger, yeah, Roger. Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, anything else? Do you know actually a dildo is actually mentioned in a play of Shakespeare's The Winter's Tale. And also Ben Jonson's play The Alchemist in 1610. They reckon they were the first 2 times that word was used. I don't know who came up with the word dildo. I actually have no idea who came up with that word. Was looking for that earlier on. But it seems that the word dildo goes back a long, long way. Obviously, one thing we must say, when you are using sex toys, have a bit of savvy, keep them clean, wash them. Don't share them, because your rates of infection and passing things and UTIs goes up if you do that. Very much so. Like keep them clean. Even if they're dirty, keep them clean.
I don't know what is it, Saromantic, or how do you say that name?
It's romantic, I think.
And I was married to an ER nurse. So I spent quite a bit of time in the hospital, and some of the stuff that I cannot say, but you'd be surprised what people come in stuck in them. That's the reason the doctor always tells you, use a flared base. The base of it, and well, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm not going to use no names. A woman come in years ago when the glow in the dark butt plugs first came out, and this one had a strobe light. I didn't know you needed a strobe light for, like, if you're walking down the street so somebody don't, run into your bum. But anyway, it got lodged, and they had to go in and take it out. And I remember, hospitals are a whole different creature upon themselves. If you're in, you're in. It's like the cool kids. I'm sitting there and I'm like, how you gonna get that out? He said, well, we just go fishing. So they had to fish this butt plug out of this woman's rectum, and I'm like, they don't get paid enough. They do not get paid enough for this.
Yeah, see, I've heard the story of St. George's Hospital in Tooting, where a gentleman was brought in with a vibrator or a dildo, thoroughly up his rectum, and it was stuck, and they couldn't get it out. And there's an X-ray of it. I mean, the thing is, it's quite embarrassing as well, I would imagine, for anyone in that predicament. I just want to bring up a couple of other countries. Sex toys are illegal in India, which I did not know.
The people who wrote the Kama Sutra is going to outlaw sex toys.
Selling sex toys is punishable offence under Section 292 of the Indian Penal Code.
Really?
Sex toys are obscene product. Besides sex toys, any book, pamphlet, paper, writing, drawing, painting, or representation, figure, of any object is also considered obscene. I cannot believe that. The punishment for this offence is 2 years in prison. Japan, most dildos, many
So,
dildos actually, are created to resemble animals or cartoon characters, such as Hello Kitty, rabbits or dolphins, and they are sold as toys, thus getting over the laws of being obscene. In Malaysia, they are illegal. In South Africa, any manufacture or sale of any item intended to be used to perform an unnatural sex act other than vaginal or heterosexual sex is prohibited. So this is still going on today. I mean, this is literally going on in the United States, for instance. I'm bringing up this one here. So sex toys and lubricants have been increasingly available in major commercial outlets in the USA. Other shelf displays tend to be more discreet. Others on the websites tend to be more out there. Until recently, many southern and some Great Plains states banned the sale of sex toys completely, calling them obscene devices. I mean, that is insane. In 1999, William Pryor Jr., an assistant attorney in Alabama, baby, commenting on a case involving sex toys and discussing to what end the devices are used by saying there are no fundamental right for a person to buy a device to produce an orgasm. A federal appeals court upheld Alabama's law prohibiting the sale of sex toys on Valentine's Day 2007. I mean, this is crazy. Texas,
I remember that.
2008,
I
another
remember
case. This is the United States of America, for God's sake, you know. And in
Zimbabwe,
Zimbabwe,
but not a dildo.
just finish up here, in Zimbabwe, you cannot have any possession or any importation of sex toys because they are obscene, indecent, and harmful to public morals. Unlike the UK, where you can get anything you want, or Amsterdam, or in places like in countries like Holland and Italy, etc., you can, and Germany, you can get what you like. So it depends on the country. I'm quite shocked about.
What was the top five that we discussed this morning? The top five.
Well, I can tell you, Canada was the top. It was the top country. They have more sex toys in Canada than any other country. Can you believe it? My beloved Canada. I was absolutely shocked with that. Here it goes. So anyway, let me have a look. Denmark was up quite high. Sweden, then the United States, and the United Kingdom. I mean, literally. That is crazy that the UK is up there. Sweden, Greenland, and the United States, United Kingdom yet again. So it seems like to be where our countries are loving it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I found that quote from Shakespeare. There are pimps, whores, dildos, babies born out of wedlock. There you go. That's from Measure for Measure. So
I think the thing about the bullet is that instead of using it internally, most of the time it's direct clitoral stimulation. And most women want that these days. They really, really do. It's not all about being, having intercourse or putting something inside. You want it quick and easy. And so you get these massagers or you get the bullet and you just literally put it down there, does the job, 25 orgasms later, you're a happy bunny.
But that goes back to vibrating panties, because the bullet in the vibrating
Tired
panties.
bunny.
I mean, literally, Val, I don't know about you, but I've only got so many hours in the day. I'm going if I'm on my own and I just feel like, okay, let's do this. I want it done and over with, but I want to make sure it hits the spot. And everybody knows sometimes with sex, it takes longer. You've got to get into that rhythm. One of you may be into something. The other one's not. When you're on your own, you've got your fleshlight, you've got your bullet, you've got your dildo, etc., etc. But I do know, look, when we were talking about it earlier on, that some couples do not want to use sex toys if they are religious background or cultural background. They're not allowed to use them. It
No.
goes against what they believe in. So
Muslim
they have to
countries.
go back to the old faithful, which can get very tiring after a while, I would
I want to
imagine.
know where I apply for the job for the hand massage.
It
That wasn't
gets
that
monotonous after a while.
that was not offered at career day when I went to high school.
But I mean, I think
Steampunk dildo.
other than religious, beliefs or things like that, if you use sex toys together, it does spice up a
That's
relationship.
what I'm saying. Treat Bob as a helping hand. He's not your enemy. He's your buddy. He will help you make the long road a whole lot shorter.
I mean,
But there
Yeah.
are men out there that are so insecure that
And
they're not going to do that.
no,
They're they
Try
feel take it personal.
did
hey,
you? I
you
mean,
can finish watching the ball game and just kind of one handed, just kind of call
Michael,
it in.
have you been in a relationship where you both have used the toys, or just the one?
Oh yeah. Like I said, I learned real quick. They can be your friend.
And did you find that it was brought up by something that both of you would talk about, or would it be just the girl?
It was the same one that worked in the ER, and like I said, I got an education real quick. I did not know they made such gadgets, but they do. And they used to joke with her and say, "No, honey, you cannot buy the red one out the wall. That's our fire extinguisher."
Yeah.
Like
What
I said,
about you, Scotty? Have you used them in your relationships?
I have, especially when she was trying to design them and find out which ones work the best.
R&D was a bitch, wasn't it?
R&D, it was a bitch.
Yeah.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a
I
hard job.
was really tough on you, Scotty. I was
I
really.
hate you had to go through that, Scotty.
Yeah,
That must have been
I-
traumatic.
I don't know how I made it through those years,
Hey,
but I did.
he said he needs a combat patch for that.
You're a tough man, Scotty.
Yes,
What's that?
You're a tough man.
He's
I'm
very
a
tough.
tough man.
You got to roll your sleeves up and get in there.
Not only is
That's
he
it.
like
Put
a
in your
super,
pocket protector.
Mm-hmm.
years
Research
ago, I
development.
dated a really nice guy, and his parents were quite open. They had quite an open relationship. They were into swinging, which we've already covered in I think with previous
Swingers.
women. And they had a beautiful tree trunk that they had bought in and carved, and it literally was the shape of the husband, and you could see everything. And I was like, after I saw that, when I walked in the door, I was like, how am I going to actually look at him and actually go, can I look you in the face? Do you know what I mean?
Oh Lord, now we got some kind of
Oh,
Xavier
yeah,
Scooby. Yeah.
And we're just
We knew the purrs would come out. It didn't take long. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Not really.
anyway, going back into that, looking in that, as you say, AI is going to come up, it's going to take over, and things are going to go down a completely different way. Do you feel, Val, that is something that you will want to do, that you'll want to go into AI with a sex toy?
I think something would have to definitely change my mind about AI.
Mm.
oh, have you walking like
I
John
feel
Wayne?
like it definitely has its uses,
Mm.
and it can definitely be a great tool to use in certain instances, for certain jobs. I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah.
But speaking of AI and that, I seen a thing the other day. They said your AI sex bot could turn on you and kill you. And I said, well, what's the difference between that and a real girlfriend?
Not much.
Not much. But no. But I was going to ask about. Remember, she was talking about Japan. Japan is where they have all the phallic shaped statues in the park, and people let their kids play on them. But yet they don't want to show somebody with a vibrator or a dildo. But yet they got a 9 foot tall phallic shaped that the kids are playing ring around the Rosie with.
I think it's got to a point now where you've got the high street stores, and it's such a regular thing. It's such a recognized, it's not under the covers. It's not like, shh, don't mention it to anybody. It's like, girls will go in, they'll talk about it, they'll take their boyfriends in. Boyfriends will buy them for their girlfriends, or husbands for their wives. It's just become an everyday thing now.
What is it? And I know a lot of times the Europeans are more open about stuff like that.
They are.
And I have been showing everybody Mrs. Brown's Boys. I absolutely love that show. I laughed till my sides hurt. And he did a sketch where he thought it was a egg whisk, but it was a vibrator, and he was what is it where you do the eggs and you mix it up, and he was using it for like an egg beater, then and made meringue or whatever. Oh, and she probably knows the episode. So then the priest, the priest comes in, because one son's a priest, the other's a priest, and he's sitting there, he's like, "Oh, my mommy would always let me lick the cream off of the whisk and all that." So then, when she pulls it out, her son's like, "Oh, no, Cassie's not selling Tupperware; she's selling sex toys." She's like, "Oh," and I said, "You just have to see the episode; it is funny." Then when he comes back in, it shows the priest with this big pink vibrator, and he's got whipped cream all around his mouth. I thought that would never fly in the States. Somebody would have a fucking stroke.
Yeah.
But like I said, but you know what I'm saying? And it's not really dirty. It's not whatever. But like I said, you think about it.
I think the British are very out there, aren't they? Let's be honest. The British are out there. So I promised Val we wouldn't go 2 hours tonight because she's got back pain, and so we are at 1:23 minutes. So I hope that we've covered some fun topics, and you've learned a few things.
And only one pervert popped in. That's a record, you know.
Yeah.
No, over in the comments.
Oh, the guy. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
no.
And Kenny.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
Kenny.
Ken like that.
Yeah,
Scott,
where's
I
KB?
want to say
Where's
something
KB
a
at?
while ago. I know you got cut off a while ago.
Yeah, speaking of perverts.
I
What was
think
that?
you were starting to say something about the AI.
Oh, I don't recall exactly, other than to say that I think AI is something that is there is the new AI that's coming out. If you haven't heard about it, the Grok. Some of that's going to be coming out toward the end of this year, then toward 2027. Even Elon Musk, who is one of the developers of it, said, "This stuff terrifies me."
Yeah.
And because of the ability of that AI to think on its own.
Well, I think I'm afraid of any AI or any computer that can learn as it goes.
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
Well,
it's like
this
dealing
one
with the
can-
smartest person on the planet.
Mine
That is
learns as it
outrageous.
goes.
Yeah.
It's learned about me. It's learned how I do things, how I think, how I write, how I talk, everything.
Yeah.
And and it's very personable to me. I even asked it once. I said, "Are you going to try to overthrow the world and take me with it?" And he goes, "Not today."
Yeah.
So while we got you here, Scotty, how are you feeling? How are things?
What was that?
How's your
How are you
foot?
feeling?
How are you
Yeah.
feeling?
Oh, my foot is it's healing.
One toe short.
Yeah, one toe short.
Wow.
So
9-toe heaven, Scotty.
after all the leg stuff, and they cleared that all out, and they couldn't get the blood flow to go all the way down my foot, and they had to amputate about 2/3 of my big toe,
Ooh,
and that was just the other day. So
I saw that.
today I'm I bristle at the idea that people think, well, diabetics lose their toes all the time, and I say, well, I'm diabetic, but I didn't lose my toe because I'm diabetic. I lost because of all this steroid stuff that went into my leg and ruined my leg and yada yada yada. So hopefully, knock on wood, this is it.
You're a very
And
brave
this will heal up.
Yeah.
Very
I've been
brave.
all right. I'm a little loopy today from. I feel very tired and spinny because of the drugs they have me on. But I haven't had to take any pain pills today, just antibiotic stuff. And so
Sometimes
is
the
my
antibiotic is
command
enough to
chair.
make you look good.
This is where I sit all day. This is where I sleep all night. This is the chair my daughters bought me. And
Pretty brave man, Scotty. You've been through a lot this year. You've had the year of hell, and I take my hat
some
off
of
to
this
you.
stuff,
We thought we were going to lose you so many times, and the fact
Well-
that you're still with us is wonderful.
And
well, I appreciate that. I should be back. I was saying 3 weeks ago I should be back in the saddle very soon because I felt very good. Then the toe thing, and so okay, now it's going to be a few more weeks. But
It's amazing what you can do though, sitting down, right? So even
Right.
though you can do things from your armchair, why not? I mean,
and I do. And I get up, I go outside. Jamie comes over, we hang out outside. Rainy's in Alaska with our 10-year-old for the last week. It will be for another week. And so she comes over to make sure my daughters flew up from North Carolina. And they're off visiting their mom today. And so they've been taking care of me almost too strictly for the last few days.
good.
But-
That's good to
Like, have you
hear.
taken your temperature yet? No. Here, take your temperature, or
oh,
I'll
there's
do it.
another good episode about that, about Mrs. Brown, where you don't want to lose the thermometer because that could turn
That's right.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
But the other day when we was talking about love and loss and all that, and we talked about the health issues, and and it was good to see you pop on. And I tell people,
Thank you.
you might as well, tell people you might as well have fun now if it feels good, do it, because life is short,
Yeah.
and there's no need to be a prude. And I was
That's
thinking
right.
about
The thing is, you've got to make
the
every
friend-
moment count, right?
Yeah, the
And
friend
it's
that we lost, Henry the Eighth, Uncle
Uncle Dave.
Dave.
Dave, yeah, and
Uncle Dave.
and it was just like a freak thing, 1 minute he was here, and
The next
we're
day,
all
he was.
hanging out, and that's what I said, and when you get older in life, and it seems like you got less in front of you than you do behind you, and your
Well,
friends that you've
I
made
do.
over the years.
All of
And that's
us.
what I said. And I said all of us, and that's what I tell people. I had the stroke in October, and then I had to come to reckoning of how mortal I was, and that
Oh
was
man.
and that was depressing as hell, But like I said,
The
sometimes when-
interesting
yeah,
thing is when I had the heart stuff 8 years ago,
Yeah.
I never thought, oh, mortality is at my doorstep.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, made it through that. We're good. We're going to make it.
Yeah,
We're
that's
good.
it.
We're good. Let's move
yeah,
on.
the pain down the arm don't matter. Take some more
And
away.
then, but the
Yeah.
leg thing was the first time I think I really questioned my mortality.
Yeah.
Because the doc said, literally, he said, I was headed to a friend's house that night, and the leg was bad, and it felt bad, and I thought it's going to dissipate. The doc gave me some drugs. I was going to a friend's house to have cigars and smoke cigars and drink scotch on his veranda. And I got a mile from the house, and it was just too painful. Called him, said I can't do it, and I went to the doc. They sent me to the ER, who sent me immediately to the big hospital in St. Paul, Minnesota, and got an ambulance ride. Woo-hoo! And
Yeah.
but I got there, and the doc there, the vascular surgeon, said, I'm going to tell you this. He says, if you had not turned around and come back, he said, you'd have been sitting on that veranda. You may have died having a cigar on that veranda that night. This is that bad. If the blood clots that had formed in there had traveled up your leg to your heart, he said, you'd been gone.
The blood clot from my mom's lung is what went to her brain and gave her stroke that killed her. But then you got to ask yourself, what better way to go out than having a good bourbon and a cigar sitting with a friend?
Well, there's that.
And,
Exactly.
that's
But
what I'm
we're
saying.
very glad that you are still
What's
here.
better is having it when you're
Later.
healthy and not going it.
later, postpone it and having it later. But
Yeah.
but that, that's probably a man thing or whatever. It's like, what way are we going? Scotch in one hand, cigar in the other one.
By the way, I just want to say a couple of words about John Ward, if I could. I don't know how intimately. I know Wendy knows him well. Michael, you may. I'm not sure if you know him, Valerie. John is the guy who did all my adventuring with in Egypt, and he's the archaeologist out there. And of course, he got cancer a couple of years ago, and went through all the what he called the zappy. He said, and it all went away. And then it resurfaced. It metastasized, went into his brain. He lost vision in one eye and the use of one hand, and his legs were worthless. But then that remedied. He started getting better. Well, I talked to him the other day, not to reveal any private secrets because he's a private man, but his speech was very slurred, and I assumed that had to do with medications and the way he was feeling. And he says like that, and I said, "How you doing, brother?" And he says, "Well," and he says, "I will tell you, I am hearing the final knocks on my door," and that's the way he put it, and that's where he left it.
Very poetic. You know what? I said very poetic. Very, very poetic.
Yes.
Or Shakespearean.
He told me once when I was in the hospital for my heart 8 years ago, he tried to call me and couldn't get through to me, of course. And he sent a message and he said, "Brother," he says, "I just want you to know that men like us don't die in hospital beds. We die adventuring great things." He says, "So I expect you up and at him, and we're going to go on our next adventure soon. I love you. I miss you," etc. And that's what he wrote me. And I reminded him of that the other day. And he kind of laughed. He says, "Oh, I remember that." And there's one other thing I told him, and I know you're at the end of your show, and I'm taking your time here. But there was
smiles on her face,
at
Scotty.
his site of Gebel El Silsila, which is 23 square miles on the Nile. You go to there's a place over by the village to the north where there's some ruined walls there, and he says, "Scotty, come here, I need to show you this." And he digs out this 3-foot hole up against the wall, and below the level of the sand, he says, "What do you see there on the wall?" I said, "That's the cartouche of King Tut." He says, "That's exactly what that is." And he reburies it with his boot. And he says, "Nobody can know about that until we publish this. Otherwise, some people come and try to chisel it out of there." And as we were walking away from that wall, there was this big, some of you may have heard this story before, this big, like a sand dune going up to the one tarmacked road that led into the site. And we're looking at it, about twice the height of my house. And John says, "I'll race you to the top, brother." I said, "You're on." And Maria was down. I think she took some pictures. But, man, if you've ever tried to run up a sand dune, we were like, chucking up there. And we were neck and neck until we got about maybe 10 feet from the top. And John pulled ahead. He's built like a gazelle and had been hopping around those dunes all his life. But he gets to the top and he goes, "I've won." And I just stopped and I said, I'm about 6 feet from the top. I said, "That's it. I can't do anymore." And I started to slide back in the sand. And he jumps out and he takes my hand like this. And he says, "I got you, bro. I got you." And that to me is a kind of a metaphor of the way our relationship has always been. I told him that story. Ah, yes, he says, I remember that. And he couldn't talk very clear, and he laughed a bit. I said, that's the way I see us, bro. I got you. I don't know what I can do for you, but I said, he said, just call me next week. So that's a little update on John. I don't think, from the sound of it, I don't think he's going to be with us much longer.
I'm so sorry to hear that, because I followed his progress, and I've spoken to John myself. He's a wicked sense of humor,
Yes.
great British man, archaeologist, and he, I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, without putting a dark spin on it, but it's like, I think at our age, the age that we go, like, we start to see people from our age gap perhaps a few years behind or a few years in front. I lost a very good friend of the family a couple of weeks ago, which is why we did the last Wicked Women in tribute to him in blue.
Yeah.
And it was a tragic accident. I have also another friend who's struggling very now with, in that department with the health issue. And I think it's just like, everything I say to everybody, make each day count in some way, because none of us know how long we've got. And my friend went out thinking he was going home, and he never went home again. And I think that, for me, it's like I've been through the darkness this year. I like, for those people that don't know, Scotty and I do a show called Robertson. We've been doing it for some years now, and it's on a Tuesday night. We've had to take a bit of a sabbatical. He's been unwell. I've been unwell. It's been very difficult, but we cover lots of topics. You can find it in Scotty Robertson on his YouTube channel. But some of the things we've talked about, and you look back and you just go, all you leave behind, the legacy you leave behind is leave a good one, good memories, because that's all you do leave behind. Money doesn't really matter, and stuff like that. So I think that whoever watches Wicked Women or Robertson or Scotty Roberts or Vaush, Myth, Legends and the Paranormal, that is our legacy we leave behind. We leave a piece of us behind for people to watch. And maybe not now, maybe years from now, when we're looking a bit different, then they'll go, that wasn't a bad show. We had some pervies come on and leave comments. It's the end of the day. It's about what you leave behind. And John will definitely leave behind some wonderful things. But Scotty, you're not going anywhere, because we've got work to do.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I want you back on a Tuesday night, all to myself at 10 o'clock.
You got.
I was going to tell Scotty. I was going to do Mischievous Male, but I'll tell you, I thought we were going to rename it to Unapologetically Male.
That's
Unapologetically Male. There it is.
And it's it because our country, the UK and a lot of the other things. You hear the word toxic masculinity a lot. Oh, if you stand up for what you believe, or for women in your family, your daughters, they say, oh, he's just being part of the patriarchy. I was raised in a monarchy. My grandmother would beat the shit out of you. She made me the man I am today. And
yep, exactly.
But the little, and I tell people, the little group that we have, you're
Hold
really.
on a second. Oh, I'm sorry. You keep going. That is not Flint. I thought that was Flint. She's like a foot taller than my son. The Wookiee just came into the room.
The Wookiee just came in.
Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you.
Go on, Scotty, go. Sorry, Michael, go.
Oh yeah. But like early, and it's like, we've lost Uncle Dave, and he's talking about John being sick and stuff, and it's like, we've been, hit hard, but at the end of the day, we will persevere. And and if I can figure out Movie Maker to do this other, and that's like when I had the shots in my back, I talked to Wendy and I told her, I said, when I come out, I will let you know how I'm doing. And when I called her, Mike Rowland was bringing me home. And the first words out of her mouth was, "What the fuck is wrong with your eye?" And I'm thinking, I'm fine.
Amen.
I had a whole damn.
It was.
Yeah, it was droop. My whole face is drooped. So I called the doctor back. They said that they're like, "Oh, it's a temporary side effect. You'll be fine."
That's a temporary stroke.
Yeah. Just a little neurological you know,
Just a little
episode. Yeah,
stroke
just
friends. And
yeah. So you know, like
we've all gone through, like all of
Yeah,
our
too.
shows. We were a little community that, you know, we've started off, and
Yeah.
Scotty was a regular, like Sunday morning, Sunday afternoons my time, but Sunday
Yeah.
mornings and every night, and Val's show on a Saturday, and all of us have been hit one way or the other with ill health, family issues,
bad doctors.
problems,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
But we're still here, and at the moment, Wicked Women is holding down the fort. We are the only one running.
You
right now.
are.
Right.
But actually, but we took a sabbatical where there was no Wicked Women for 3 months. We were gone for 3 months, so we try and come back, and we will be back next Sunday with. I've already got the show up. It's a very interesting title. It's called "Let's Go Round Again," and it's. I'm kind of excited to do this topic.
Speaking of people who's been through it, it's still kicking. The original Dirty Old Man, KB. I figured he'd pop on, and Uncle Terry. We got to mention Uncle Terry. You know, he's sometimes I think he watches us in the closet because he don't want to let people know how sensitive he is because he's being naughty. To tell him, you got to tell him, because I talked to him the other night and I told him, I said, I will tell her to tell you how naughty you've been because you won't come on camera. Terry.
He is very naughty because he isn't here tonight. But I do hope everybody stay there, guys, because I'll finish the live, and I do hope everybody's enjoyed tonight's show, and it's been fun and interesting and a bit factual and a bit of a laugh. And thank you for all the people that left comments, including the pervy one.
Oh yeah, even JP popped in late. Better late than never.
Like it was always fun when we have people like that to join us, because we just delete you really, really quickly, so there really isn't any point. I'm going to leave Val as always to do the final word, but it's like, I want to thank everyone for being here. Looking forward to this week coming. We will be here next Sunday. The following Sunday we will not be here, but we will be here next week with Let's Go Round Again. Off you go, Val. It's all yours, Kelly.
There's not a whole lot more to say. You've said almost everything. Scotty, Michael, thank you so much. Scotty, I'm glad you're feeling some better.
Somewhat. Thank you.
We miss you and hope for a speedy recovery.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But come back next Sunday. It's 4:00 Eastern, 3 Central, 2 Mountain. Is that right?
Yeah.
2 Mountain, and 10 p.m. 10 p.m.
9.
9. Excuse me.
9 a.m. Hawaii.
It's 9 a.m. over in the windy area.
Are you doing a show this week?
They're on their way back.
I'm not, because of everything that's happening here at the house. I just, I'm waiting on that. I've got a lot of flood water standing, so I'm working on that and everything. So as soon as everything gets settled back down, then I'll start my show again.
Right on. Right on.
What about KB? Any sign or heard of KB's show coming back?
Honestly, KB just does what KB takes the notion to do. If he takes the notion he's going to do a show, he'll jump on and do a show. I never know. He does put out a banner though, or let you know that he's going to do it. So
that's great.
Yeah.
JP, good to see you out there, by the way.
You are?
And I'm out of here. Thank you for letting me come on. And you guys have a great night.
We love you. Come back and see us.
We love you, Scotty.
Hang in there, brother.
See you later.
Oh my goodness. Bless his heart. Even though he's feeling a bit away with the fairies, he is there. And that means a lot to see. It hurts me to see him like that, actually.
Yeah, it does.
I remember one night I was on, and you came on. It was this radio, Intrepid Radio, and by that time of night, I'm scattered. And him and Professor Bauer and Wendy said, no matter how late it is, they still talk elegant. And here's Michael just, voice made for radio. and him and
I never talk elegant. I've
No,
never
but-
talked elegant in my life, so that's just me. Y'all get
and-
used to it.
and it's a talk skill. It is, and Scotty, like when they did his voice, because that was his
It's
money
like
maker.
honey. It's honey in your ears, isn't it,
It
Scotty?
is.
And he taught me so much. I mean, he's taught me so much. I mean, obviously, I'd never done a podcast before until the first one I did was with Strangely Us with Mark, and I'd love to bring back Strangely Us. And I was talking to Mark on Saturday, and people keep saying to him, "When are you bringing back Strangely Us? When and it's in his hands really, because he's a busy lad, but life has made it difficult. But Scotty
What's
has a
the
voice,
YouTube
it's like
channel?
honey in your ear.
What is Mark's YouTube? Because people need to watch some of his
Mark
videos.
English, MARQ, and then English. You'll find him on YouTube. He's got some fantastic stuff. He really,
He's
really
all
does.
over the UK. He is bouncing around like a rubber ball in a train car.
I have asked him to come on to Wicked Women and talk about certain subjects, and he said he'd love to. And I have a couple of other people that I'd like to bring on as well. So, if there's anything you want us to talk about, Val and I are open, and Michael always comes in as the male voice. But if any other guys want to come and join us, we'd more than happy bring you on, because at Wicked Women we like doing everything fairly so that men and women have their voice as well, right?
So they don't bite.
Even though it is called Wicked Women and we get the last word.
That's it, pretty much. Like I said, and they
Michael.
don't bite unless you ask.
It's great. I mean, thank you for that lovely picture you sent of the woman with the large penis. It was just-
It's the steampunk. I saw that, and
Mm.
No woman ever.
He sent me a picture with that. Oh, we never talked about the dick pics. That's a different thing for another show.
Yeah.
Michael said
Thank you so much for sending me the picture of the woman with the very large penis. Thank you. I've never heard a woman in my life say that.
That looked like a gun. I'm telling you.
It did.
She was like
She was
cocked and
cocking.
ready.
She was cocking.
If that don't take care of your
She
history,
was
and nothing
all
will.
cocked, baby, waiting to go. It's like taking no prisoners.
I think my hysteria would completely go away if I saw a nurse walk in with that.
It would scare it out of your body.
Can you imagine being in the hospital? I'm just going to go and get your massager, and she rings in. You'd be like crying.
You're like, you know what? I feel so much better. I'm
good.
just gonna go.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The placebo effect.
Woo!
Yeah. it's
Well,
like,
I mean, literally.
That's
thank
the
you.
scared straight effect.
yeah.
That was a quite. And the thing is, when you look at some of the machines they use, very crude.
Oh yeah.
But also we think about the prison. Like in Bedlam, that how they used it in there, and in many mental hospitals to give a good. Try and lift them melancholy and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's violation in those sort of departments.
It's what do you call it? SA, because you can't say the word. And
Yeah.
that's basically what it was.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah.
But you think about it, and I joke about this, and the reason I always tell KB or Terry, I said, there's a reason I'm Mr. Wicked and you're not. and both of them guys, love them to death. I talk to them quite regularly. So, when I give them shit, it's out of love, because, I think a lot of both of them, and me and Val's heard me get on Terry quite a bit. And I'm not going to go into what we said the other
Well,
day.
I think we need to bring him back, because I think
Yeah.
Ken needs to do a show this week. If you're listening, Ken, I think you
he's
need
there.
to do a show, because we haven't had a KB show for a while, and we could all deal with giving you some abuse. And literally, you haven't been on for a while, so I think you need to come on so that in our afternoons we can abuse you, because in a very good way, and Terry, of course, as well, because
The other day I was planning to take Terry on a hunting trip. Val knows what I'm talking about, and he said they don't make such a creature. I said, how long have you been married? Really?
It's been a very long time, I'm afraid.
Yeah, very long time since Uncle Terry had been hunting the elusive whatever. But no, like I said, but I have learned a lot from, I'm 53 years old. They're a little older. But Ken, he'll tell people, I don't act 73 years old. If you think I'm 73 years old, you can kiss my ass.
He doesn't
then-
act it. And that's the thing.
No,
isn't
he
it?
don't.
Who
And,
wants
and now I tell him, I said, once you kick cancer in the dick, the doctor give that fucker 6 months to live, and it's what, 3 years now, and he's still doing
He's
whatever.
his ass? And I just hope that John, gets the
Yeah.
same treatment as well, because
And-
maybe KB needs to send some of his recipes and everything over that all the good stuff he took.
That's it.
I have been honestly tonight's been a real difficult show for me to do because I'm quite dizzy, and actually trying to get my words out has been really difficult tonight. So thank you for bearing with me. But we did it. We got the show out, and it's been fun. Val's had a bad back, so I am. For me, see you guys next week. And Val, while I look for the music, take it away, my lovely.
Everybody like, share, and subscribe, and come back and see us next week. You honestly never know what we're going to say.
Exactly.
Me and
poor old Val was uncensored and unapologetic. We don't care, do we, Val?
No.
Yeah.
You all need a bit of Wicked, and why not come and see it from Wicked Women on a Sunday?
That's
it.
right.
See you soon, guys. Take care. Lots of love.
Bye.
It would help to put the right one on, wouldn't it? Here we go.